We've reached the halfway stage here in Season 2 of the realistic takeover rebuild with Everton, and that means it's a good time to check in on the development and progress of our squad. Maxim Dyche really impressed in his first season with the club, and despite a couple of niggling injuries, he's continued to progress. And he's up 3 overall to a 78 this season. Joachim Andersen's torn ACL has taken its toll, just like it did with Jack Harrison, and he's unfortunately down 1 to a 79 overall. The likes of Ben Godfrey and Arnel Armatogic continue to get better, but Jared Branthwaite has grown a massive 3 overall, up to an 81 at just 22 years of age. And between his brief loan spell out at Crystal Palace and the handful of games he's been able to play for us, Noah Mbamba is up 4 to a 73 overall. Lewis Dobbin is also up 3 overall, so these two youngsters can potentially start to play more of a role for us going forward. But like Joachim Andersen and Jack Harrison before him, Lewis Ferguson is also getting worse. His broken toe injury taking its toll on his development. Fortunately, Reece Nelson hasn't regressed at all at this stage. David Washington is up 2 overall, despite not really impressing in the games that he's played so far this season, whilst Victor Castro is our only youngster who remains out on loan, and he is also up 3 overall to a 69 now. Matheus Cunha has had a fantastic start to his Everton career, making 10 goal contributions, 9 of his own and 1 assist in just 17 games. Hassan Diao continues to play a prominent role as well. He's scored 6 and created 3 goals of his own. Amadou Onana's got a couple of goals despite playing in a more defensive role for us this season. And we have goals from Tarkowski, De Silva, Harrison, Ferguson before he was injured, Nathan Patterson coming up from right back, and David Washington just with 1 goal and 1 assist in his 17 games. Nathan Patterson also has 4 assists to his name. And we can see that Reece Nelson was on a tear before he tore his ACL. 6 goals and 3 assists in just 10 games. What might have been if we had Reece Nelson. And we've got another really important episode coming up here today. We have got 3 games to get to, beginning with our first FA Cup game of the season at home to Coventry. And we'll round out the episode with a Premier League game against Burnley, also at Goodison Park. It's going to be a real chance to put 3 points on the board and climb back towards those European places. But a featured game today will be a trip to the Emirates to face Arsenal, and this could also be a game that helps us take another step towards Europe next year. It's not a Premier League game against Arsenal, but it is the semi-final of the Carabao Cup, and if we do manage to go on to win the competition, then we will of course book a place in the Europa Conference League at the very least. And of course a cup run in the FA Cup wouldn't be the worst either, a place in the Europa League proper up for grabs for the winner of that competition. So we'll go out with a strong, if somewhat rotated side for this one. James Justin, despite a string of bad performances, maintains his place at right back, whilst Ben Godfrey and Noah Mbamba come into the centre of the defence. Josh De Silva starts in midfield alongside James Garner, whilst Lewis Dobbin and Hassan Diao accompany David Washington up front in our youngest front 3 in the series so far. It was Coventry that started the brighter in this game, forcing a couple of good saves from João Virginia early on. Some were more comfortable than others, and this one he was able to parry away easily at the near post. But it was Coventry who opened the scoring, Sakamoto wriggling through a couple of Everton defenders before firing across João Virginia and into the top corner of the Everton net. A really clinical finish by Coventry's number 7. We did start to take control of the game after that though, and Coventry's lead only lasted 5 minutes. James Justin combined with David Washington, 2 players who have been heavily criticised in recent games. Washington's low stooping header beating the Coventry goalkeeper who had come out to claim the ball. And David Washington should have given us the lead after the break. Lewis Dobbin slipping him through the Coventry City back line. He was all alone in the penalty area with so much time, perhaps too much time, because he lifted the ball over the bar. And he would be removed from the field for Matheus Cunha shortly after. We did have our lead upon the hour mark though. Maxim Dyche whipping a really good corner into the box where James Tarkowski met it with a thundering header which flew past the Coventry City goalkeeper. Nothing he could do about this one, and it was 2-1 Everton. And then about 10 minutes from time, Matheus Cunha almost made it 3. The goalkeeper made a fantastic sprawling save with his feet though. Josh De Silva was the quickest to the rebound. He tucked the ball into an empty net, and 3-1 would be the final score. So after a fairly shaky first half an hour to 45 minutes or so in the game, we do manage to progress through to the next round, where we will hopefully be drawn against easy opposition like we have been in the Carabao Cup so far. Unfortunately, Amadou Onana picked up an injury in the game, and whilst it's only a light knock that will keep him out for 5 days, it is going to mean that he's going to miss the Arsenal game, and that leaves us desperately thin at midfield with James Garner and Josh Da Silva our only viable starters for the match. Josh Da Silva not up to full fitness though, so we may even have to push Noah Mbamba forward into a midfield role to cover. And whilst there aren't really any transfers that we can make to help us out immediately, there is one player that Graham Potter's had his eye on for some time. Luca Waldschmidt is a 28-year-old centre forward currently playing for Wolfsburg, but he is going to be available on the open market with only 6 months left to run on his deal. Unfortunately, negotiations are proving difficult. I don't want to give him an important squad role because I don't think we're going to be able to play him often enough to fulfill that, but giving him just a rotation squad role means that according to Buzzko's realistic calculator, we need to give him no more than £20,500 per week, and he's currently asking for 29. However, increasing the signing bonus slightly does get the deal over the line, and we have agreed to terms with Luca Waldschmidt, and Luca Waldschmidt does stay with Wolfsburg for the remainder of the season, despite the fact that we lost Abdoulaye Doucouré to a pre-contract agreement with Fulham immediately. And that's one of the reasons that we are so short at centre midfield at the moment. We hadn't planned for Doucouré to leave immediately, but for him to leave in the summer, so we're gonna have to be relying heavily on Noah Mbamba in a big spot today. So Noah Mbamba will start alongside James Garner in midfield, and other than that, it's going to be pretty much our strongest 11. Jordan Pickford in goal, our usual back five of Patterson, Ahmed Hodzic, Tarkowski, Branthwaite and De Kuyper, with Diao and Harrison supporting Matheus Cunha up front, whilst Arsenal will line up with a very similar 11 to the last time we played them. Aaron Ramsdale starts in goal, a back four of Ben White, Urian Timber, Jonathan Tah and Mendy, a midfield three of Declan Rice, Sambi Lokonga and Jorginho, whilst Martinelli and Saka support Gabriel Jesus up front. So it's going to be a tough test here as we travel to the Emirates, and for none more so than Noah Mbamba. But without further ado, let's head down to the Emirates and see if we can come away with the result in this first leg of the Carabao Cup semi-final. So we are up in the commentary booth at the Emirates, under the lights, in the first leg of this semi-final of the Carabao Cup. 2 legs, so we don't need to come away with a win here necessarily. I would say a draw would be a more than acceptable result in the away leg. Of course, we will try and win the game, and we will set ourselves up to do so early. We have just come out in our pretty standard 3-4-3 formation, and we will stick in our standard game plan for the first part of this game at least, as James Garner makes a run in on goal. Closed down by Jonathan Tah. Just strikes with his left foot across goal, and it is a comfortable one for Aaron Ramsdale as it just flashes wide. Positive signs early though. James Garner in that more attacking role on the right-hand side of the midfield too. Alongside, of course, Noah Mbamba today. A really big test for Mbamba. His biggest test in an Everton shirt so far. By quite a margin, I would say. We did convert him to a centre-back when we brought him in from Bayer Leverkusen. But he was originally a centre midfielder. Or potentially a CDM. One of the two. I think probably a CDM, because we do have the -3 on him like we have on Amadou Onana, unfortunately, in centre midfield. So I think a CDM when we brought him in, and we converted him to centre-back, where he actually went up in overall. But back to his previous role today. And we've had a good start to the game here. A chance for James Garner early. We've kept the ball well against Arsenal as well. And Nathan Patterson has clipped Diao in behind this time. Matheus Cunha just holding his position on the edge of the box. But we've got Jonathan Tah isolated here with Diao. And he tries to take him on one-on-one. Little isolation basketball there. Isolating the bigger, slower defender. And trying to take it past him. But Diao potentially should have given the ball up there instead. Saka now. Maxim de Kuyper forcing the ball to Declan Rice. But Saka's found it once more on this right-hand side for Arsenal. Jesus now. Very similar player to Matheus Cunha, who we have up front. And Arsenal with their first opportunity of the game break the deadlock, and 10 minutes in we're 1-0 down. It's not a particularly unfamiliar position, I wouldn't say. This has happened on numerous times this season, and potentially happened when we beat Arsenal 2-1 to open the season. We certainly won the game 2-1. I'm not sure if I'm misremembering exactly how the game went down, but Jordan Pickford went down there. Went down a little bit too early. I think he would have, if he would have stayed on his feet for a little longer there and just made himself big in front of Jesus, it would have made the finish more difficult. That's awful, James Tarkowski. But instead, he committed. He went down early, and just that extra half second of hesitation from Jesus was enough to allow him to slip past Jordan Pickford. I'm not sure if Cunha's offside here. He's not. And he gets a shot away, and it's a terrible, terrible finish from Cunha. Sliced across the ball, which forced it wide. I was expecting the linesman to raise his flag for a moment there, but he kept it down. There's Cunha potentially rushing the shot because he thought he was in an offside position as well. But if he would have buried it, it would have stood. Jorginho. Jonathan Tah. Big, imposing defender at the centre of that back four for Arsenal. He almost gives the ball away there, though. Mendy. Chased down by Diao, but he manages to squeeze through. Nathan Patterson does make the challenge, though, and just plays it off Jesus for an Everton throw, but the linesman's given it to Arsenal. And Arsenal are into the Everton box once more, with a strike at goal from Sambi Lokonga, parried away by Jordan Pickford, and away eventually by Nathan Patterson. Mendy on the left-hand side once more, taken on Diao. Managed to force him back on this occasion, though. Arsenal enjoying a better period of possession and pressure now that they have taken the lead. A little bit more comfortable in the game, potentially. The nerves having settled during the opening period. And we need to try and get back to the way we were playing before Arsenal took the lead, because it was a very positive start to the game, and I think we can't allow the early one-goal deficit to prey on our minds too much. That's a poor pass from Jarrad Branthwaite. Really poor. And Arsenal are away on the right-hand side now with Saka. Good challenge, Maxim de Kuyper, but Saka somehow maintains possession. And Sambi Lokonga's been given a booking for something, I'm not sure what. Oh, we would have seen it there if I hadn't have skipped the replay. But a short corner from Arsenal. Saka, really nice pass inside to, I believe, Ben White. And it's really good combination play from the two. But Harrison cuts it out, and Maxim de Kuyper is away on the left-hand side now. Back to Harrison, and Bamba just works it back to Branthwaite. To Kuyper. And Bamba once more gives the ball away now. Fortunately, it's a poor touch from Jesus. And we throw the ball directly to Arsenal. Maxim de Kuyper just going absolutely nowhere. No idea why he wouldn't just take up a position to receive the throw in there. That was so simple and obvious, but he just drifted away from Jack Harrison. Nathan Patterson into the feet of Diao. And down the line for Patterson to chase the pass from Ahmed Hodzic. Taken down really nicely from Jonathan Tah, though, and Martinelli could launch an Arsenal counter-attack. And that's exactly what he's done with the run of Jorginho. Ahmed Hodzic comes across, and we've taken Nathan Patterson out of the running for a challenge there as well. Martinelli into the box, lays it off, and it's a good block from Tarkowski from the shot from Jesus. Just lining up bodies on the edge of the 6-yard box there to get a block in, and James Tarkowski was the man that managed to do it. And Arsenal really dictating the play now. Saka once more beats Maxim de Kuyper once more, and it's laid back and again blocked by Tarkowski, and we need to clear, and it wasn't allowing me to do so, but that was because I believe there's an offside or a foul of some kind, but an Everton free kick regardless. And we do need to get our feet on the ball and try and establish ourselves in the game again here. Patterson into the feet of Diao, and again he's got Jonathan Tah isolated one-on-one, and Tah stands off him. Garner plays it through for Cunha. Diao once more, and that's such a bad pass. Really sloppy play now once we do get ourselves into a good position, and that's equally poor from Arsenal with the throw. Jonathan Tah, I think he's a little bit quicker than I've given him credit for. Jonathan Tah, I called him a big or a slower defender, I think I referred to him as earlier, but doesn't actually feel like he's too much slower than Hassan Diao, who could be in behind here. And is Hassan Diao onside? He's not. I was just getting ready to chip the ball over Ramsdale because the referee kept his flag down initially. I thought he was offside, and he was offside by quite some margin, but the time it took for the linesman to raise his flag gave me a moment of false hope that he was onside. But the flag did go up eventually, and somebody needs to deal with this. Ahmed Hodzic and Tarkowski both just leaving the responsibility of dealing with that through ball to the other. And Saka's... And I think the referee's given a penalty. I think the referee's given a penalty. Oh, all right. To be fair, that is a penalty. I didn't see that initially. I put in the challenge with Jared Branthwaite. I didn't feel any kind of haptic feedback, so I thought that it was just innocuous, and it's a terrible, terrible penalty from Saka. What on earth was that? And Jordan Pickford parries it away, and we should be 2 goals down. And that's a terrible challenge. It's going to be a booking for Gabby Jesus. Frustration potentially that Arsenal didn't double their lead there. What a terrible penalty from Bukayo Saka. And Jordan Pickford kind of didn't commit to diving away to his right-hand side. Pickford, of course, will be very familiar with Saka from their time spent in the England setup together. And so potentially knew what Saka was going to do ahead of time. It certainly looked that way. But either way, it's a terrible penalty from Saka, and that's given us a lifeline here in this game, because we really should be 2-0 down after that really clumsy challenge from Jared Branthwaite. And I think we really have to try and take advantage of the fact that we're not 2-0 down. Let's not allow that to pass us by, and let's not let that penalty save go to waste. Let's make sure we come away with a result here. Tarkowski, de Kuyper just clears. And to be fair, I think even a 1-0 loss wouldn't be the worst result. Obviously, it's not ideal going into the second leg being a goal down. But I think we could certainly come away from the Emirates with worse results, despite the fact that we have played Arsenal really well in recent games. Again, in that opening game of the season where we did manage to beat them 2-1, but going back to last season as well, and James Garner could be away here. Matheus Cunha needs to at least try and get into a position to challenge those Arsenal defenders who are flooding back. Diao. Good challenge by Mendy, and he does manage to keep the ball in play. Really good defending there from the Arsenal man. Noah Mbamba's been fairly anonymous in the first half so far. He's given the ball away once or twice and hasn't made much of an impact beyond that. We don't really have options on the bench though. We do have Josh Da Silva, but he's not in the best shape in terms of stamina. So potentially we'll see him in the second half, but not until Noah Mbamba has run himself ragged, basically. But I think we're fortunate to be just 1-0 down at half-time. Arsenal haven't created too many clear-cut opportunities. And really, they took the only one that they did create, but the penalty is as clear-cut an opportunity as any, and Jordan Pickford managed to save it, so it remains 1-0 at half-time. So back out for the second half here against Arsenal. And I think priority one is just to ensure that we don't concede another goal in this game. Like I said before half-time, I would be not happy with a 1-0 loss, but I would be content with a 1-0 loss. I think that would be acceptable. I think that would put us in a decent enough position to come away from the second leg at Goodison Park having advanced to the final. So I think we are going to drop into our defensive game plan for the second half here. Try and ensure that we don't concede, and then just try and nick a goal. If we can come away with a 1-0 draw, I'd be more than happy. Don't anticipate being able to get a win, but a 1-0 draw is the aim. A 1-0 loss would just about be acceptable. I think we're going to have to switch Noah Mbamba and Jared Branthwaite. So I've done that previously to move Noah Mbamba into midfield, and didn't make the same change for our defensive game plan. Ball pass from Diao. Let's make that change now quickly. So just hoping to nick a goal on the counter-attack, potentially from a corner, you know, some sort of set piece. Oh, that's poor Jack Harrison. He had Maxim de Kuyper in behind there, and Jared Branthwaite's done really well to win the ball back. James Garner wants it into his feet, and he gets it, as does Hassan Diao. Really nice little half turn away from Mendy, and he skips away from the challenge as well, Hassan Diao. Can he cut inside now? Yes, he can. Matheus Cunha takes the run of the defender away, but Diao can't quite get a strike off. That's exactly what we need to do, though. Pounce on the counter-attack. Wait for Arsenal to come onto us, and then blitz when we get the chance. Oh, that's so poor. Such a bad touch from Branthwaite. I had the pass loaded up, ready to go, and Jesus wasn't in a position to intercept it, but Branthwaite had to take an additional touch to bring the ball under control before he played the pass, and that just allowed Jesus to get in and nick it away. Nathan Patterson on the right-hand side. One of our primary threats really is our pace with Diao and Cunha up front. But Arsenal have got so much pace in their back line that it's really neutralising that particular form of attack at the moment. Patterson into the feet of Cunha. Garner plays it directly out of bounds. We've really struggled in centre midfield today. Noah Mbamba's been pretty anonymous. James Garner's not been at his best. And it's just the two of them against three Arsenal midfielders. So they've been a little bit overwhelmed at times. We need to put in a good challenge here against Martinelli, which Ahmed Hodzic does. Martinelli trying to win another penalty there, I think, for Arsenal. But absolutely nothing in that one. Saka will put the corner in, and it won't be a short one on this occasion. But it's in towards the near post, where Jesus manages to turn it towards goal. Jordan Pickford claims comfortably, though, and rolls it out to Ahmed Hodzic on the left-hand side. Jack Harrison with the ball at his feet. Opportunity to play it into Maxim de Kuyper again, and he Manages to do that this time. Look at all those Arsenal defenders flooding back. Matheus Cunha in some space in the box. Hits the bar. No. So many Arsenal defenders, but still they allowed Maxim de Kuyper to find some space. But Maxim de Kuyper couldn't find the back of the net. James Garner in the box. Cunha again, but it's blocked. Oh, and that was easily our best chance of the game so far, and probably will be our best chance of the game come the final whistle. And Matheus Cunha cracks his effort against the bar. Nice little pass into Martinelli, but it's a good challenge from Nathan Patterson. Maxim de Kuyper again could be away on the left-hand side here, and James Garner's just put too much on the pass. That will allow us to make a change or two here, though. Just as Arsenal were doing, as Martin Ødegaard is about to make our evening a little harder. Coming on for Sambi Lokonga. And it will be 2 changes for Graham Potter as well. Josh Da Silva and Lewis Dobbin coming on to replace Noah Mbamba and Jack Harrison. So 1 youngster in Noah Mbamba for another in Lewis Dobbin. Very much having to rely on our young players this season because of the injuries that we are suffering from at the moment. Joachim Andersen, of course, out for the season, as is Reece Nelson. Lewis Ferguson not out for the season, but he's out for a significant period of time. Jared Brathwaite, good challenge, but Josh Da Silva gives it away. And we haven't yet had to call Victor Castro back from his loan spell out of Southampton, but any more injuries in the forward areas, and we may well be forced to do that at some point. Big switch of play to Maxim de Kuyper. Lewis Dobbin. De Kuyper makes a run, and Lewis Dobbin tries to cut it outside, but the Arsenal defender was all over it. A challenge by Maxim de Kuyper, but still Saka continues. Jesus runs into Everton bodies, and how can that be a free kick? We just stood our ground and he ran into us. Oh, that's so frustrating. And it is going to be a direct free kick, but blocked by the wall. Saka's attempt not managing to make its way through. Gabby Jesus' attempt did, but it was saved by Jordan Pickford. And we just need to get the ball away here, ideally. Lewis Dobbin can't win the header. Martin Ødegaard chased down by Da Silva. Saka now on the right-hand side. Da Silva again trying to put in the challenge, and does win the ball back from Ben White briefly. And he's going to press high now, Da Silva. Stepping up from that centre midfield position. Nice little pass into Ødegaard. Garner forces it wide. Good challenge from Maxim de Kuyper as well, but it's going to be another Arsenal throw with about 20 minutes to go in the game. Still 1-0 here at the Emirates. A result that Arsenal look as though they may be happy enough to come away with, but Lewis Dobbin comes away with the ball, and Martin Ødegaard is chasing him down. And Lewis Dobbin plays a perfect pass through to Cunha, but Jonathan Tah is just quick enough to come over and deal with it. Really good effort from Lewis Dobbin to lay the ball into the path of Matheus Cunha. But Jonathan Tah had the step, and he got there just in time. Poor touch from Saka. Josh Da Silva collects the ball from the throw. Nathan Patterson on the right-hand side, where Diao faces down Mendy. James Garner now whips it across the 6-yard box, and Ramsdale just punches away under threat of Matheus Cunha's challenge. But Arsenal work it clear. About 15 minutes to go. Still 1-0 Arsenal. Martinelli takes on Patterson and manages to wriggle past him. Too much pace to keep up with him, Nathan Patterson. And we might be looking to make a couple more changes. Bring a couple of fresh pairs of legs on and see what they can do in the closing stages here. Martin Ødegaard cracked against the post now. Oh my days. Jorginho, I believe it was, with the shot for Arsenal. It was a beautiful pass from Martin Ødegaard to lay it into the path of Jorginho. And Jordan Pickford was beaten, but the post was not. Lewis Dobbin, can he get a shot away? Yes, he can, but it's blocked. Struck by Josh Da Silva. End to end the last couple of minutes here, as the woodwork has been hit at both ends now. Matheus Cunha hitting it for Everton. Jorginho at the opposite end for Arsenal. And the game has opened up in the closing stages here. Arsenal looking to secure their victory. And we, of course, looking to find an equaliser. Good run from Nathan Patterson, and he just stopped. He just stopped at the last moment. Aaron Ramsdale's out of his area, though. And if Matheus Cunha was pressing a little higher, could have been an issue for Arsenal. Ahmed Hodzic has stepped up out of position as well, though, and James Tarkowski has bailed him out with a really good challenge. And James Garner can't find Cunha. It's really opened up in these last couple of minutes. Another good challenge, Tarkowski. And he's giving the ball straight back to Arsenal. That's too dangerous, and we could be punished. What a save, Jordan Pickford. So dangerous from Tarkowski. Just needed to clear. As Arsenal make another change, and I think we'll do the same here, despite the fact that we are defending a corner. So 2 more changes for Everton and Graham Potter. Matheus Cunha and Hassan Diao off. David Washington and Bertrand Traore on. So a couple of pairs of fresh legs who could potentially challenge Arsenal on the counter-attack. There's not long left to do that, but you could have 1 or 2 opportunities. But it's Berardi, the Arsenal substitute, who finds his own opportunity and puts the ball into the back of the net with it. And Arsenal have doubled their lead. And I said a 1-0 victory wouldn't be the worst result. 2-0 is going to make it more difficult in the second leg at Goodison Park. Really lovely 1-2 with Martin Ødegaard. Took the ball down after Jonathan Tah's shot was blocked. Into the feet of Ødegaard. Straight back out of Ødegaard's feet. Into the path of Berardi, and the first time finish was clinical. And we're going to just have to try and throw players forward and try and get a single goal back in the closing stages here. And come away with just a 1-goal deficit. I mean, it's unlikely, as Berardi's going to be booked. It's unlikely, but we need to at least try. 2-goal deficit is going to be difficult to overcome. It's not often a team starts 2-0 down and comes back to win the game. But that's exactly what we're going to be tasked with doing at Goodison Park now. Nathan Patterson wins the ball, can't clear. We're going to have to be careful not to be 3-0 down by the time the game kicks off at Goodison. And yeah, we have to settle for 2-0 at this stage. Good clearance, just get rid. Taken down by Bertrand Traore. No! Thought maybe we could hit Arsenal on the counter. And it's an Everton free kick. Why would you possibly bring that back? How is that not an advantage? Oh, Lord. I know it was 3 against 1, but Bertrand Traore had the ball at his feet. And it's 2-0 Arsenal. Really disappointing to concede that second goal. I would have been happy enough coming away with a 1-0 defeat. Not happy by any means, but happy enough, content. But instead it's a 2-0 deficit. And we're going to have to work really, really hard to make it through to the final now. We will, of course, try. We have certainly come back from worse situations in this series so far. But it's certainly not going to be easy. So a disappointing defeat, but that does take us to our third and final game of the episode and a chance to end on a high. Burnley currently find themselves in 19th place in the Premier League on just 14 points and 3 points from safety. However, we did play both Bournemouth and Brentford, the other two teams in the relegation zone last month, and we only came away with a point from those two fixtures. So we cannot afford to be complacent here in this next game, especially since it looks like our route to Europe through the Carabao Cup is going to be even more difficult after that loss to Arsenal. Amadou Onana returns to the lineup for this particular game alongside James Garner. Lewis Dobbin also returns to the lineup, as does Ben Godfrey, whereas Burnley will be starting both Wout Weghorst and Armando Broja up front. So I hope those centre-backs are in for a tough afternoon. And we got off to a much better start in this one than we did in the previous two. Nathan Patterson slipping Matheus Cunha in behind. The Burnley line were caught far too high up the pitch, and Cunha made no mistake with the finish. About 10 minutes later, though, Burnley were level, and it was their first real chance of the game. Andrich slipping the ball through to Armando Broja this time, who in turn made no mistake with the finish. Arno Ahmedhodzic was unable to cut out the pass. Jordan Pickford, though he got fingertips to it, was unable to save. And we're starting to make a habit of conceding a goal from the only real opportunity that we give up to a team in a game. Amadou Onana was close to putting us back ahead, though, with this shot from range that flashed just over the bar. Just after the break, though, Matheus Cunha would have his second and our second goal of the game. This fantastic strike from the edge of the box, potentially going on that list of contenders for goal of the season. It crashed off the underside of the bar and into the back of the net. And 2-1 would be the final score, but it wasn't for want of trying on David Washington's part. Again, he was into the box with far too much time and again lifted the ball over the top of the crossbar somehow. So not the most convincing performance or result, but 3 points is 3 points and they're all going to be important come the end of the season. But those 3 points have come at a cost, as Lewis Dobbin has also broken his toe and will also be out for 3 months. And that comes just as we receive news that Lewis Ferguson is back in training, so he'll be fit and ready to go again in about 2 weeks. But in Lewis Dobbin's absence, we are going to need more cover in those forward positions, so we are going to be forced to recall Victor Castro from his loan spell at Southampton. And although those 3 points don't mean we rise any higher in the table, they do mean we are now level on points with Chelsea and Leeds United just ahead of us, only 2 points away from Spurs in 5th place, and only a win away from Arsenal in 4th. So although the top 3 teams in the league are really establishing themselves, Man United taking 1st place away from Newcastle, Man City in 3rd, 4th and 5th, and potentially 6th place as well could be a European spot this year. And those are all certainly up for grabs. So in addition to the second leg of the Carabao Cup semi-final versus Arsenal and the closure of the January transfer window, we will get to yet another cup game versus Middlesbrough in the FA Cup this time in the next episode. And we'll round things out with an away match against West Bromwich Albion. Another really good opportunity to put some points on the board. Several good opportunities coming in February, with games against Fulham and Nottingham Forest as well. So we'll look forward to that in the next episode. I hope to see you there. Take it easy.